All right. So now what we're going to be doing is we are going to take this spreadsheet and turn it into, actually, hang on a second. Let's do this. Yeah, boy, Grant, way to go. Way to blow it already. Okay, anyway, that's not right. Basically, we're going to turn it into this spreadsheet. Okay, so what we're doing is we're going to, there's some basic formatting going on there, but there's actually some key stuff going on with something called absolute references, as well as adding these, what are they called, sparkle lines or whatever those are. So that's what kind of what we're going to be doing. So let's have some fun with that. I am basically taking this from, now we're on module 3, part 5, and I'm going to see what I can do now about the whole, that's not what I wanted. Let's see. Come on, help me out. Nice, but that's, you know what? Life is too short. There's got to be, I'm sure, I know I saw it. I saw it when I went up here. Can I? Oh, you're not going to let me do it though. Okay, whatever. You know what? That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so absolute referencing. That's our first thing we're going to be doing. And I hope that that can kind of just get my face out of there. I'm thinking, yeah. Okay. Anyway. Okay, here we go. So absolute referencing. So here, just so we can see this again, if I had my little formula one, and two, and then this was a sum of one and two. Actually, better than the sum. It's basically going to be equal to this plus. Okay, yeah, equals to this plus this. Okay, we get three, and then if I go copy and I go paste, that is now summing up. Uh, from the well, I'll tell you what. We'll see even from the formula here. It moved it over. See, so when I went and took this formula, which was this plus this, and I went copy paste, and I just all it did is it kind of shifted everything over to the right. Now, what I could do is if I always want this number to be added, like if I always wanted this number to be locked in somehow, I could basically say in this formula, I would like you to anchor, and that's what the dollar sign is. I want you to anchor the D column. You're always going to be pointing at the D column. Okay. So when I do that now and I go copy and paste, notice that this number is now anchored to the D column, whereas this number added these two together. And then when I did the copy paste before, then it added these two together. Now instead, this number, because it's anchored, is adding this to this, the non-anchored column. All right. So anyway, this will all become pretty clear in a minute because what I want to do at soon is I want to basically fill in these rows. Probably a good thing to sort of re-explore a little bit about what this spreadsheet was about. One thing I realized in my last video is that I had this set to 40%. It's not 40%, it's 4%. So I made that change and I highlighted here. So if you were actually following on mechanically behind me and you weren't necessarily looking at the book, you might have missed that. And I think the other thing too I should have done is this should have been a percentage. All right, so that's it. So now we're good. Now we're at where the book kind of left us when we started this module of 3.5. So it talks about absolutes, and I want you definitely to look over that, and it gives some really good sort of examples, probably better than the ones I did. So now we're going to enter a formula containing absolute references. All right, so there's a bunch of formulas coming up. And one of them is going to be what is the total room revenue? And I think, am I right that you know what? I think the formulas were on the previous page, weren't they? Yeah, they were probably at the very bottom. So these are the formulas. The total room bonus is going to be K4. So remember what K4s were the assumptions. So when we look at K4, we apparently need to know how many rooms there were, right? Corporate bonus is based on K11. which is how much money the person gets, right? This is a bonus, and we're going to see in a minute they get it if something is true. I think revenue is pretty self-explanatory. The cost is yeah, I think that's all except the occupancy rate. The occupancy rate is also going to be based on an assumption in K5 of 5%. All right. So maybe when you're doing this, you might want to have this up because as we're going through the book, he's going to just throw a bunch of cell references at us, and it's good to kind of know what the cell references actually are. All right. So no, go back. You haven't done it yet. So let's go down here. So this guy here is the total room revenue. Now it's equal to K and then that formula. So it's going to basically say, hey, go into B7. So B7, and you can now go equals and then type K4, or the other thing you could do is go over and select it. You might want to do that if you're not as familiar with the cell. Know exactly what you're doing. And then you're going to basically, type or copy this formula, which is multiplied by, and we'll try to get some sense into this. It's multiplied by the rate. The occupancy rate, which is 40%, how much each room is multiplied by the number of days in the year. Not great, by the way, because it's not counting leap years, but whatever. We're going to hit enter. Now, what I want you to notice here is that this formula, and the book will make this more clear in a minute, but this formula, if I go and I start copying it along, it all kind of gets wiped out, right? Why is the revenue here 100 and actually a million? Yeah, it's a million, right? So why is this a million and now all of a sudden 0,000? This sounds like a hotel I don't want to necessarily invest in. Here's the deal. Notice that this value here is not anchored to K4. So when I move over to here, it's now referencing L4, and in L4, there is nothing. There's nothing in any of the L's. So what I want to do is I want to anchor this, and I anchor this by using a dollar sign. And that is sort of the point of this part. And it's a super important concept in Excel. All right, so no, I don't need to see that bigger. I'm going to scroll on down. Okay. And by the way, constantly check your values. That's how I caught in the previous video. I caught my events or whatever percentage was wrong, right? I realized my numbers were adding up. Okay, next. Now it's going to basically, we're going to work out the corporate bonus. We're going to work out the corporate bonus, and we're going to use basically an if. Okay. This is also a pivotal moment here, right? What there's basically saying is just saying if, actually, let's get something a little bit easier here. Oh, well, I guess that's okay. Yeah, it's funny that they jump right to something fairly complicated here. So what I'd rather do, I think I'll just show you what the book is actually doing. All right, so actually right here. So if the sum of this is greater than whatever that is, so if this is true, then you're going to show me what's in that cell. Otherwise, it's zero. Okay? So if whatever's in the first parentheses is true, then do the next thing by comma. Otherwise, do this. Now, it's not a programming class, but I'm having trouble explaining this without using programming language. So what I'm going to say is that this is a function, right? We've seen several functions already. We've seen the now function, which has parentheses, and that basically shows us the date. We've seen the summation function, which takes in some arguments and returns something. By the way, that's the date format now, so that's why it looks weird. But I just wanted you to see the parentheses. So the if is very much the same thing. This parentheses here is going to actually match that parentheses here. So far in the now function, it didn't take anything in between the parentheses. It didn't take anything. In the sum function, it did take some stuff. It took this stuff. Okay? So the sum function took in stuff. What is this stuff? Why am I struggling so hard to talk about this? This is an argument. Okay, that's an argument. You will learn that in programming classes should you ever go into those. So this is a function, And inside of its parentheses, it's taking one argument. It's taking the result of all of that data range. Okay. Some functions take more than one argument, and that's what you're seeing here. This function takes in three. That's an open parentheses. That's a closed parentheses. This is the first argument, right? Which kind of starts the sum of that is greater than that. So that's the first argument. That's the second argument, the k in 11, and that's the third argument. And again, notice the anchoring that's going on there. Okay, so now with that, we can go ahead and have some fun. Oops, and blow up my spreadsheet. Just wanted to delete, thank you, and actually put that expression in there. Now, I don't know how much you guys need. I mean, how much you don't know this, but you notice there's signs there, right? Greater than, that's a greater than sign. So basically, if this is equal to this, that's an equality, then return true, otherwise return false. If this is less than, return true, return false, right? So that's the way to sort of read this stuff. So now let's go ahead and put that into our bonus. So, right, that's where we're going now. We're going to go into our bonus. So we're going to go to B12. B12. All right. And I'm going to go, and it says insert function. So the whole time I've been typing equals, but of course you could do it this way too. Click on the function button. These are logical functions. Now, by default, you're going to go here. You're going to go to the most recently used. Remember, I'm like, because I'm trying to do this ahead of you, I went to logical and I found if. Okay. And again, here it explains it. Three arguments, the logical test. What do you want to show if it's true? What do you want to show if it's false? All right. So I'm going to go okay. Now let's brought a nice little wizard up here, and that's what these are called, these little pop-ups. They're called wizards. And I'm thinking, yay, I guess that sounds great. So now I can just, put stuff in. So here's if B, if the sum of these, right? If the sum of these, okay, let's just get over here and let's get rid of that, is greater than 20% of the revenue. So if the sum of what you're bringing in for the restaurants, the spa, and the events is more than 20% of the revenue, okay, so let's get him in there. Um, yeah, then what are you supposed to do? We're supposed to return this anchored amount. Okay, so let's get that in there. I'll show you that in a minute. There's the anchored amount. Otherwise, you get zero. Okay, we hit enter, and you definitely want to make sure you test these. But if I move over to here, uh, crap, where's my formula? Okay, well, K11, we'll just have to eyeball it. So K11 is this. So I get 50 grand. So now I tell you what, let's test it. It's got to be greater than, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a value. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to throw it over here for safekeeping, and then I'm going to put in a ridiculously large number. And now I get 50,000, right? That's kind of, now let's put in a ridiculously small number. I get Zippo, right? So that's me basically trying to test it. All right. So apparently I got zero there because this number, which is where are you down here? The total is 200, and that's definitely going to be more or less. I just lost my mind. What are you? Less or more? Yeah, so the revenue is going to be more than 20% of that. So that is not 20% of $1 million. All right, cool. So we got that. Let's get rid of our scrap and scroll on down. And it's kind of basically told us to do all that. And again, it confirms 00. We're on to the next page. All right, now we want to do the remaining things. So to enter the remaining formulas for the next couple years. Couple years? Couple years? All right, so normally I want to pause, but I don't think so. I want to, I am going to basically get this a little bit closer. So B13 is the total revenue. B13 is the total revenue. It is going to be B7, so this guy plus these guys. Okay, that makes sense. So let's just do it. I'm going to go copy, and I don't need to have this being absolute, right? So notice again, B7 plus these guys equals this. I want, as we move forward through the spreadsheet, these values to move along with the appropriate column. So I don't need to have absolute values there. Okay, B7, click the auto sum button. Oh, Okay, what do you want me to do? Oh, B17, B17. Okay, yeah, so B17. I'm gonna go click the auto button and let's just, where are you here? You're way over here. So there's the auto in the editing. Let's go back. Nope, that's fine. Let's just do it. So I've clicked the auto. It assumes I just want these two, which is an accurate assumption. Beautiful. All right, move you to left. And B19 is the gross. And this is basically the gross is taking everything I made, my revenue, and it's subtracting everything I spent, right? All right, so we can just copy that in. And again, when you do this stuff, make sure that you're paying attention to what's highlighting. That's remarkably useful. And then it's going to do a division where it's going to basically take the total and divide it by the revenue. Well, that's going to get us a percent. None of this stuff needs to be absolute. We can keep it the way it is. There it is. Again, it's really gross looking because it hasn't been formatted yet. All right, now it says in C4. C4 is this dude. Okay, C4 is equal to B4. Sorry, C4 is over here. C4 is equal to B4. So now here's what's going on, right? Rather than just mechanically typing this, let's talk about what this is. This guy in C4 is going to reference B4, 40%, and then it's going to multiply it by this K5 thing. So what's going on here? Well, K5 is 5%. So it's assuming that we're going to increase our percentage. We're going to increase our occupancy by 5%. That's what's going on there. Okay, so let's take that formula, copy, go into C4, put that in there, and it's assuming it's going to, what you do wrong there, Grant? Yeah, I don't care about that. What's up, man? Ah, there's a space. All right. So anyway, so that's one thing right there. So now it's increased by 5%. And if you know your math, 10% would have been $4. So 5% is half of that. That's going to be $2. Cool beans. All right, next thing, we're going to go down to C6. This paragraph drove me crazy when I was trying to do this on my own, so I'm glad I'm doing it with you guys. We're going to go down to C6. So here's C6. The average data rate is apparently going to go up by 3.5%. That's what K6 is. K6 is 3.5%. All right, so let's go to here and um, and let's put that formula in there and try not to capture the space bar that I did last time. And there's now two equals, which is awesome. Get rid of that and go. And what? Oh yeah, that's it. That makes sense. Okay, cool. Now it says push the down arrow 3 times. Geez, guys, what are you doing to me? So instead of that, I'm just going to go navigate to C9. So we're going to go here now, the next number. C9 is also going to be based on some of these assumptions that we had way over here. This is going to be based on K7. K7, so this is a restaurant. Restaurant's got a 10%. So let's go over here and put that in there. And that's basically got the 10%. We're going to go down one to our next dude, which is the spa. Spa was also over here too. Yes, it was. So I'm going to go over here, hit that button, and go. He's done. That's the spa. Then it says to go down one more, and it's going to go off of K9. K9. What are we looking at? Events, K9. If I move over here, there's something called events. We're assuming a 15% increase there. So we go, done. All right, that's nice. Then it says press it 4 more times, but we're trying to get basically 15, which is this guy here. So we're going to go to 15. 15 is also, now it's going to go to K10. So I scroll over here. I look what the heck is K10. K10 is the expenses, which is 4%. And when I did my first run through this and I realized I was at 40%, all my numbers started going crazy. Now we're going to go down one more. And there you go. Now, it's not as important to me that you're understanding what's going on in this, like in the business logic, what are you doing? Nope. Do not correct that. Let me see what I actually did wrong. Nope. Nope. Stop. Don't talk until you actually have it in there. So you're going down, type that, press the down key, press this. Okay, so let's do this. Let's not highlight it. Let's just go copy and go to here and go paste. And let's just have a look again. Why are you doing this? So they're both going up by 4%. That's what they're saying there. Okay, the parentheses is off, so I should put the parentheses on there. Boom. Okay, good. So we are in, and again, if I wanted to verify myself, it's nice that they've done this, but it would have been nice to sort of have the data itself and then verify this. But anyway, I'll just do this now over in the spreadsheet. Let's just check our formulas out. I went control and the accent, which is sitting above the tab, and basically those formulas all look great. And when I actually had the wrong numbers going on in my report, the formulas didn't really help me, but that's when I had to go back and look at what the initial thing was. Now, you've actually seen some of these errors already. You definitely want to, it takes practice and time to sort of start working out what the numbers are. But now we get to pay, we get payment for all the work that we actually did here, because what we're going to do now is we're going to fill in the rest of this. So we're assuming that all of these assumptions are going to hold true for the next few years. So we're going to highlight this and we're going to grab the handle. We're going to drag it over just to 2030. We let go, and there we have it. Right. And notice that, oh, I didn't do the bonus. Was I supposed to do? Why did I not do the bonus? Okay, so let's do that again. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I could have. Yeah. I go copy and, oh, wait. Maybe am I not supposed to have a bonus yet? Let's have a look. No, I'm not supposed to have a bonus yet. Okay. Nope, that's nice. Okay. Good. Good. I'm glad I'm still in step with the thing. All right. So now I think this is when they're going to try and get us to fill in some of the stuff. So B7 is the revenue. So I can take this B7 and drag it right across, and now I got some numbers. Cool. Hopefully those numbers will make sense. Do they make sense? Let's check along. Yes, they make sense. So we've just done three. Looking at number four, select B12, these two guys, B12 and B13, and I can fill it again. And it's only working because of the anchoring. Actually, yeah, the anchoring. That's why it's working. So that's why we get the bonus in there. And then this guy, I think, was just a straight sum, so he didn't really care about the anchoring. Number five, select B17, and it's also just a drag straight across. That's me moving, not copying or replicating. There it is. That's cool. And then these two guys here, 19 and 20, and we drag them across. All right, so now we got some cool data showing up there we can go on to next. Determining row totals in non-adjacent cells. So they basically just want us to total these guys. I believe this is a straight auto sum. So I'm going to basically click where the first thing makes sense. I'm not going to sum up the percentages here for the total. I'm not going to sum up the daily rate for the total, but this does make sense. I'm going to sum this up right down to gross margin. I'm not going to sum up the percentages, and I'll just maximize this, do auto sum, and that made my life easier. All right, so now those values are there. Cool beans. Scroll on down. Cool. It does say to save. You know what? Let's be smart. I'll save it. Okay, next. Adding formatting and sparkline charts. I think I did call them sparkle charts. Anyway, so here you go. So we got this whole thing called sparkline groups, and I think I might have to yeah, I might have to maximize this. Oh, okay, great. Because I'm going to be inserting sparklines. Okay, so what the heck are we doing? So just to quickly go ahead for a second, what I want to do is I want to basically put a line chart here, which is going to show the increase of the percentage. Now you've already done charts, but this is something slightly different. This is a chart that will sit inside of the cell. Pretty cool. I'm going to go insert. I'm going to click line. It's going to say, hey, what's your data range? That's my data range. Where do I want it? I've already got it where I want it. I'm going to go OK, and I get myself a nice line. And that kind of is what's going on in that little dialogue. All right. So now we're going to want to put lines on the whole thing. Okay. And just talk a little bit about, taking some control over colors and things. So uh, click on the more button there to display the lines. Okay. So here's this button. So these are all the various lines. If I want, I can make it green or whatever the heck they want us to do there. Oh, I guess they want to have that one. Okay. They want to have that one. Scrolling on down. Again, by the way, it's kind of cool that the textbook does this whole waiting for the tooltip to tell me what that is. So that's blue-gray, accent 3, 25%. Beautiful. Okay, so I got that in. And then I want to now basically drag this all the way down with the handle. And now I get all these different lines. And of course, if there isn't any data, we don't get a line, right? I'm a little bit sad that those are saying 0, by the way. I'm going to delete that just because that's gross. But anyway, so now it matches. Yay. Next. Now, the line is what the textbook wanted initially, but we don't actually want a line. What we want, excuse me, is we want this to be a bar, and you can actually change it right here. So now it's basically changed to a bar, and again, you can play with that if you wanted to. And so that's what that's about. You can customize the line charts. What are we doing there? Okay, so that was just a comment about other stuff you can do by customizing the charts. We're just going to move on now to just basic formatting. So now we're going to do some formatting. This we've kind of seen already, but we get to see it again because you do spend a lot of time doing this stuff. So a couple things that are obviously wrong with this chart. These aren't particularly easy to read. The percentages look gross. It'd be nice if the heading looked kind of cool. It'd be nice if this looked kind of cool. And so let's go ahead and fix this. So the first thing we're going to do is, what's the first thing we're going to do? We're going to actually look at the percentages. So we're going to take the percentages and make them percentages. So this actually is a percentage. Now, I think the book is going to make us make it look like a percentage, but again, we can use the paste here and just grab this thing, and now they all look like percentages. And that's kind of how I would do that. If you already have it. If you already have what you want up there, then just go ahead and do that. I noticed that, though, this guy's not 2 digits. That's not cool. I would like you to be 2 digits. So let's do that. There you go. And because I did that, I may as well do that too. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, that's looking good. Now we want these to look like actual numbers. And we're going to do that by basically highlighting the numbers. Total 2. Yep, total 2. And we're going to go up to number. I'm going to say, hey, make it look like a comma. Do you care about decimals? No, you don't, and neither did this one. Oh, it did over here, though. Right. We don't have any decimals there at all. So let's just go here to the number and pull in the decimals. All right, so now let's match them. Awesome. Okay, we're cool. By the way, another option would have been to right click and format it and then make your selections here, right? So number, format, and then alignment and things like that. But that was pretty good too. All right, next, format the titles. All right, so we're going to the titles. This guy's supposed to be 24, I think it's saying. This guy's supposed to be 14. I'm on step 2. It's supposed to be 14. I want them both to be bold. I want these guys to be bold. I want A7 to be bold. I would like, okay, I'm going to highlight them all now. So it's A7. So I want A8 to be bold. I want A13 to be bold. I want A14 to be bold. And I want A17 to be bold. And I want A19 to be bold. Boom. Bold. Beautiful. I want A1 to H2, right? They want me to make the fill color green. So let's go over here, green, and they're looking for 60%. I couldn't find the 60% to save my life. I couldn't find it. This is like This is 80%. This is oh, found it right there. It's funny. Okay, I love it. 60%. All right, cool. I got that guy. He's done. And now we're going to change the font color to dark gray text 2. So I'm going to go dark gray uh, here. Is that what you are? Help me up, dude. All right, let's do it again. I'm looking for, oh no, just wanted dark gray text 2. That's this one, right? This one maybe? Come on, where are you? Okay, that's dark gray text 2. Isn't that then dark gray? Dark gray text 2. Wonderful. All right, got that done. Collecting an empty cell to get rid of the range, but we got that. Cool. Next thing to do is to what are we doing here? Yeah, we're adding line. We're adding these colors is what we're doing. So select A3 to H3, A3 to H3, A3 to H3. Cool. And apply a heading. So we've seen this before. We go to okay, seen it before. Where's my styles? There's my styles. And they wanted heading. I think they wanted that one. Okay. All right. Which one did you want? You wanted heading two. So maybe you didn't want that. Stop. You wanted heading two. Heading, apply the heading two style. Okay. Beautiful. Right? Heading two. Sure. Okay. And just so I can get a sense as to styles is here. So, but I can't just click on it when it's condensed, when it's collapsed. Well, that's gross. Oh, not as gross. Okay, good. I can do it. So, okay, let me look again. So that's A3. I'm going to go style, self styles, and it was heading to, it says, so I'm going to just roll with that. Then it's A7 to G7. So A7 to G7. And then using my control, I'm going to go A13 to G13. And then, so I'm here, I'm going to go A17 to G whatever. Then I'm going to go A19. Okay, now I'm going to do the total style. Got that in there. And then select A19 to G, A19 to G, whatever. And I want to use the blue gray. That's apparently what I want to use there. So click on this guy. Um, blue gray. Which one of you is blue gray? That's an accent. That's a blue gray. Blue gray and 80% looks good. Oh, but you didn't work. That said, so I made a clicking mistake, but I am going to use my little paintbrush here to sort of fix that. Cool. Next. And I'll actually just demonstrate that. Copying a cells format using the format button. So I think I kind of did that. So I'm pretty excited with that. Okay, so now we want that same thing on these guys. So let's take you. First of all, this is a number and this is a character. It'll probably work. Actually, let's just test it out. Okay, so that worked. Oh, except it got a little bit indented there. Don't know if I like that. Let's go back for a second. Why did you indent yourself? This guy also, by the way, the fill color sticks to the last color you picked. Yeah, that's better. We're gonna do that one. All right, so I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna go boom to total, and then go boom to total revenue, and I'm gonna go boom to total room revenue. Now, a couple thoughts about this, just so you know. I'm gonna grab a couple. here, and I'm just going to paste it down and demonstrate something. So if I wanted this format and I wanted it to be over here, and then I basically wanted it again over here, and I was going to keep clicking. I will also tell you that another thing to do is if you double click, you'll lock in the paintbrush, and now basically see how the paintbrush is right beside it. So now I can basically go click, 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 and I don't have to keep going back and doing a constant bit of repeating. I'm going to delete these cells, by the way. If I just basically erase them, what you're going to see is that the format's sticking around. So I could, in theory, I suppose, do this and just wipe them out like that. That's probably how I could do that. The other option was to delete the rows, and that's what I was thinking about doing. Okay, painting non-adjacent stuff, really? Oh, this is the whole, we're fixing this up. Okay, sure, sure, we'll fix that up. All right, so J to K, and what do we want to do? We want to apply heading to that. Really, we're doing that first? We're going to do that first. Okay, sure. So we're going heading to, heading to, heading to, done. Cool. Oh, then we're going to merge. Okay, so we apply the heading and then merge. That sounds great. I'm going to basically go to format cells and merge them because that's what I think is the cooler way to do it. And I think while I'm there, I can even center it. So it's going to be a horizontal centering. I haven't done that before. Usually I've been clicking up in the alignment section, but I'm there anyway, so I may as well do it. Change the width and column of J to best fit. If again you go up here, you go double click. Now it's at best fit. And now the rest of this, I just want it to be kind of green. So I'm going to go down here. We're going to lose our highlighting, but that's fine. You don't have the highlighting, so you don't have to worry about it. Fill color and to font green. So let's do the font. So fill color is going to be green accent 1. Cool. And then we're going to deselect the range. And that's going to be it for now. One thing I will do is I will get rid of my shame here. Boom. And so now this spreadsheet looks like this as we go into the uh, next exciting installment of this. All right, so hopefully that was helpful, and we will talk as I start to finish off the chapter.